can't move forward because of the dog.
I always just like to go live and see how long it takes you to notice that we're live. Well, you gotta scoot forward somehow. Oh, he's also on your foot. That's pretty sweet. Ugh. Okay. Still no baby. Believe it or not, guys. Still no baby. Still pregnant. James is watching TikToks and being a very active participant.
I think I have 4 notes.
Well,
I have 5 notes.
You've seen the movie before. You're not even required to have notes. So technically, you're like...
Sir?
Peanut is big and large.
In charge.
Yes.
Sir?
I'm starving most of the time. Like, I could eat a very large meal and I'll be hungry like in an hour, which is...
You're cuddling my foot.
Annoying.
It's very sweet. I need you to scoot.
But yeah, we're set for induction August 6th if nothing happens between now and then, so...
I need to move.
Oh, don't scare him.
I didn't scare him, I just moved him. I need scoot boot boy.
He said, I thought if I laid here you couldn't do the podcast, and then you'd have to pay attention to me. I thought for sure it was going to come today. Not because we've really had any inkling of that, but because it's my mom's birthday today. And I thought that'd be some cosmic
poetry.
Yeah, but that didn't happen. So now Harry Potter's birthday, fingers crossed. Not tomorrow. Although if we go into labor tomorrow when we're in Deadpool and Wolverine, I did make a deal like months ago. James and I made a deal that we would alter the baby's name in some way to represent Deadpool. So there's that. Oh, the 31st is Harry Potter's birthday. So I've been excited about that the whole time. That's my actual due date, is the 31st. Which, if this child comes exactly when they're scheduled to, that'd be pretty cool too. Just like right on time.
Wizard.
Literally said, I waited till exactly the moment I said I was going to be here. I did not tell you early, I did not tell you later. I said the 31st. You okay?
I'm here.
Gotta wake up. At 9:34 a.m. Yes. Yes. We'll see. I'd be cool. I'd be cool. As long as it's not like full on labor. You haven't made coffee for a couple weeks. You talk about it a lot, and then you don't make coffee.
I'm very lazy.
Takes a lot of work. And yet you bought yourself an espresso machine, which is more work.
It is, in fact, more work, but then I can make lattes.
Which are more work than your Keurig machine, which you don't use.
Yeah.
You used to use it all the time. And then you got bougie.
Yeah, I like fancy coffee now.
This is just our witty banter for the first 5 minutes. I don't know if we're gonna get 2 episodes out of this. I'm gonna try. I don't have a lot to say. I mean, I'll wait till we get going to talk about it, but...
How dead is this phone? Good enough.
You know, if you ever watch stream, it wouldn't be good enough. You could count as another viewer, James. Hey, look at that! It's time! Alrighty, let's get this show on the road. I'm gonna...
Shit show.
It...
Ow. Ow.
Sorry, I had to get my phone. The mic is over here, my phone is over here.
Crush my foot. It's alright.
Don't put your foot on my chair, sit like a normal human.
physically incapable, can't speak, haven't had coffee, bad brain.
You had Dr. Pepper.
Obtuse rubber goose.
Green moose guava juice.
Yes.
Do you know the rest of it?
Fucking, yeah, but I'm distracted because there's a dean staring at you.
You're also on here.
Look at me. Neck strength of a fucking Greek god. With adorable big ass head.
Look at the hair.
Look, he's cute as shit.
Alrighty. He's probably like
he's gonna meet us again in real life someday and freak the fuck out. He's like, those people are fucking famous.
He's also probably confused every time they turn on the TV and is like, why do we keep every once in a while they just turn on these weird people and we watch them for an entire night and I don't know what's happening.
It's been the whole time. Sometimes they yell a lot.
They're loud.
Very loud people. I don't understand.
Mom and dad are weird.
This is not good children's programming. They say swears a lot.
This is not quality content. Where's Miss Rachel?
They say mommy and daddy words a lot.
Miss Rachel does not approve. Alrighty. Alrighty.
Oh, my head. Oh, no.
Okay. This is gonna be good.
I'm having withdrawal symptoms. This is bad. This is
Of
not
coffee?
Good. Yeah. I didn't have any. My head hurts.
Oh my god, you're a drug addict.
Yes. Correct.
Are you gonna make some on break?
Probably.
Okay.
As fast as I can.
Just boil some water, do a pour over. That'll be the fastest you can get it.
Will be the fastest I can get it.
Alright, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Now, are we the evening news team or are we just the regular news team?
See, I was really hoping that you were gonna come in and like do like a whole Anchorman intro.
I wanted to, but then I needed to ask a question that I should have asked before you hit the record button, and that is, are we the evening news team? Good evening, San Diego.
I don't want to be a part of any news team.
You do flounder on camera.
I don't flounder on camera. Wait a minute. What?
Never mind. This is a video show. Don't worry about it.
It's like, what have we been doing for the
years?
past?
For years, we've done this.
8 years.
For nigh a decade. We've been doing this same shit.
Yeah. Okay. This is CityWavesCinema. We watched Anchorman. I'm America. That's James. We will never give a coordinated intro, and that's just how it is here.
Yeah, under no circumstances.
Anchorman. I didn't hate it.
See, that's what I told the people. I said, you got to be here because I think there was even parts of it she liked, and I'm not sure on that, but I think.
I didn't hate it. I wanted to hate. Like, I wanted to go in hating it because I've seen snippets of it here, and also just Will Ferrell's face in this movie kind of makes me want to punch him. But
good. That means it's good. That means they did good. Well done.
But like
DreamWorks team, good job. Way to go. You did great.
Also, live action DreamWorks hurts my brain.
It was just distributed by them. It was made by Apatow Productions.
But yeah, no, it was just okay. Like, it wasn't good. It wasn't bad. I can't believe there's 2 of them.
In the second one, just to spoil a little bit, in the second one, the news team fight scene that we get is even more big. There's even more. A Brick gets a fucking, if I remember, he gets like a ray gun or something. They go, Brick, where did you get a ray gun? And he goes, I don't know.
If Brick wasn't in this movie, it would be awful.
Oh, Brick Tamlin really makes the movie.
Steve Carell carried me through this.
He's so good.
Without Steve Carell,
good.
I probably wouldn't have any notes because there was literally nothing that happened. But like, Steve Carell really carried me through. And I think Steve Carell's funny, but he's not my particular type of comedy. But in this one, like, I don't know, it just really resonated with me, and I found it very, very humorous.
I love that specifically because you tend to avoid absurdist humor and just over the top ridiculous things as funny or as comedy goes. And in this movie, that's Steve Carell's only job is to be the absurdist comedy. Rick, where did you get a hand grenade? I don't know. Like
it played very well, and it's a good role for Steve.
Just so perfect.
It's really funny because you're right. I don't like absurdist or lowbrow or any like my humor is like I'd probably put it a tier under like British comedy because British comedy is too highbrow and I don't find that funny at all. But like right below that.
What? Okay, hold on. Time out. Tangent.
Okay.
What British comedy do you find that is highbrow at all?
All of it. That's like the comedy tier is British comedy's up here. I don't make up the rules.
Whoever did is fucking stupid. Who wrote these rules?
People that
Some unfunny son of a bitch?
People that went to school to study comedy.
Oh, so fucking losers.
Bob Race is not a loser.
The comedy nerds wrote the rules.
Okay.
Highbrow? IT Crowd is nothing even remotely close to highbrow comedy, and it's a staple of English comedy.
I think you're misinterpreting what highbrow means in terms of the comedic ladder.
Maybe.
Because it doesn't mean like it doesn't mean the same thing that you think it means.
Can you explain?
Yeah, I can do my best. Okay, so highbrow comedy is comedy that it's not, you got like Family Guy, right? That's your lowest of like the lowbrow comedy. You don't have to think about Family Guy, Shrek, those types of comedies for them to be funny.
It's a joke where they tell you the joke.
Yeah. Highbrow comedy requires some level of like knowledge to understand the joke. Whether that be knowledge of culture, knowledge of circumstance, knowledge of satire, like that sort of thing.
Ooh.
Okay.
Interruption. Okay. I'm tracking with you now. However, I would posit that IT Crowd and assorted other English comedies of that nature are not highbrow comedies because in their respective markets, you don't need that extra level of knowledge. Whereas an American viewer would need knowledge of English customs and things like that to get everything about the IT Crowd.
True.
So I would say it's a misnomer to put it into a highbrow category only because it's not in our spectrum.
Okay. But Kingsman, for example,
not a comedy, very funny.
But has that kind of British humor, but you don't need prior knowledge to laugh at the jokes in Kingsman.
I feel like it doesn't even have... We're going to have a dissertation at some point about what British humor is, because I feel like you and I have very different definitions of it. But I think it starts at the foundation that Monty Python is the funniest sketch group that ever there was.
But see, Monty Python is lowbrow comedy.
Yes.
Okay.
But not really. The Holy Grail is laced with jokes that you need to understand stuff about European history for.
But it's funny. It has humor that you don't need that history for. It can just be funny. It gets funnier when you have that knowledge and that history.
See, that's how I think IT Crowd is.
But it's inherently funny on its own. There's nothing not funny about watching the guy get his arm slashed off and going, "'Tis but a flesh wound." Like that's just funny.
That's absurdist.
Okie.
Bunny's got teeth like this. Absurdist.
So yeah, Anchorman.
This is like Adam McKay wrote the movie with Will Ferrell, and it's on his IMDb history. It's his first major credited work in terms of writing. And honestly, if your first credited work has a budget of 26 million when it gets put into production and it makes box office 90, feel like you did a fucking bang up job. It also helps that everyone in the cast is a pretty good improviser.
I mean, it's one of your SNL groups.
Is it?
Will Ferrell,
Will Ferrell,
Steve Carell.
is Steve an SNL alum? Is
I'm-
Paul Rudd?
I don't know if Paul Rudd is. Hang on.
I don't know. I mean, Will Ferrell, tour de force of the comedy world for a long time. Would you believe this came out after Elf?
Now that I would not believe.
Elf was 2003,
but
and this movie was the next year. That's wild, dude. No, I don't know. To me, this doesn't feel like an SNL grouping, but rather it's like, I don't know, it's just a collection of really, really talented comic people.
yes and no.
Okay, explain.
So Carell did do SNL, but he did an animated short series that was on SNL, opposite Colbert.
So he was in a cartoon that ran
On SNL.
on SNL
Mm-hmm.
with Stephen Colbert.
Yeah. This was like your
God, that's what, 2000?
1996. So the
Jesus.
1990s, which, I mean, Carell has often joked that he actually lost like the SNL position to Will Ferrell.
Probably.
So
I mean, Will, love him or hate him, a lot of people hate him. Will Ferrell is just really funny.
I don't hate him and I don't love him. I think he has his moments. I think he can be funny, but it's kind of like Seth Rogen. I feel the same way about Seth Rogen. I feel like
he's also in this movie.
I feel like Seth Rogen can be funny. I don't think he is funny all the time. He's not like Jim Carrey. Like Jim Carrey is literally just funny. Robin Williams is just funny. He can also be serious, but he's not like inherently funny. Like Will Ferrell just is. He has his moments, and a lot of him is just being. A lot of his moments come from situations.
Well, situational comedy is like the easiest access comedy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you have a good mastery of situational comedy, I feel like you can, take that to the maximum level.
I mean, it's very much like that's a perfect improver is someone who can be given a scenario and be funny, like make a funny like situation out of it. So, is he a good improver? Yes. Do I think he's a good comedian? No. Or a good comedic actor? No.
Why?
It doesn't. Not all of his jokes land. Like, and not saying that everybody's jokes land all the time, but he just really struggles to provide consistency in performance of his comedy.
I find it to be the opposite in that I don't think his jokes are always everyone's cup of tea, but I think he's so consistent in his lane, he gets typecast in the same type of roles. I mean, you ask people what is their big, like, Will Ferrell movie, and they're going to say Elf or Step Brothers. And they might go to Anchorman, but Anchorman, even though it's all about Ron Burgundy, feels much more like a ensemble movie than it does like the movie about the guy. So
without the rest of the news team, it would be awful. It'd be so bad to watch.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not written, if it's not cast in that way, it's a much worse movie.
Yeah. So
I actually want to look at Will Ferrell's.
It is important to know that this movie is set in the 70s. Because a lot of the jokes and stuff don't land. They wouldn't land for when this movie was written. Like the time this movie came out, which was 2004, let alone now. So it's set in the 70s to be a. I hesitate to call it a satire because I don't think it's that high up, but a parody comedy of what news journalism was in the 70s. Which was very misogynistic. It was very over the top. And yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. And we get a narration by someone that we never really meet or know or care about.
Who is the narrator? Hold on.
And he tells us that this is a time when people still believed everything they saw on TV. And I can tell you after this weekend's events,
Oh my god.
people still believe everything that they see on TV or hear or are told without doing any research. So nothing has changed. Ron Burgundy is a persona, basically, of a very, I don't even know, he's not even the most misogynistic person
In the group.
But he is a parody of a news anchor.
They're all that's the thing with the ensemble cast, is they're all this outlandish parody of the stereotype.
But they're like different versions of it.
Well, I think that
Cuz like
but they're not all they're not all a parody of the same person.
No.
They're all parodies of types of person.
Yes. Personas.
Okay, so we're agreeing. You just said it in a way that made my brain upset.
Yes.
All right.
We get like this whole little introduction, and after talking to James briefly after the movie, I'm going to remove my question about this introduction, which was how much of this like whole opening montage sequence was improvised by Will Ferrell, and I'm going to solidly say probably all of it. Because it's a lot of randomness, and I feel like they were just like, here, pretend to be getting ready to do a news broadcast, and set him at a desk with some props and just let him go. Which when you have good improvisational comedians, that is the best thing that you can do. Robin Williams did it a lot. Jim Carrey has done it a lot. Sometimes it's good to just put a camera on them and let them frolic for a little bit.
You just hit record and say, go.
Yeah.
I think they had a script, but I think it's one of those types of movies where you shoot your scene the way it's scripted, and then you go, all right, does anybody have any ideas? And then you just run with whatever makes the cast and crew laugh the most, and you shoot that a couple times and see if it works.
Or I wonder if they had a script, but the script was like, Ron gets ready for news broadcast. And that was it. Like
I don't know. I'd love to get my hands on an original Anchorman script.
Ron makes me feel uncomfortable, but not in the way I feel like he's supposed to make me feel uncomfortable.
How does he make you feel uncomfortable then?
He grosses me out. And it might be my weird aversion to mustaches.
Oh, it's definitely the mustache.
But like
Definitely.
also, and this is gonna sound shallow, but like we get so many close-ups of his face that I got a lot of really good looks at Will Ferrell's teeth. And
Top row, awesome. Bottom row, well, it's a little too late.
And then just he picked food out of his teeth, and I get like he's supposed to be off-putting, but I don't know. It made me feel uncomfortable in like I said, a way that I don't feel like it was supposed to make me feel uncomfortable. Like I just was like, I don't like looking at you on camera.
Jesus.
Not because like just appearance, but like just the whole thing made my brain unhappy. And that can totally be like a totally neurodivergent thing for me. Like that could just be a me issue, but it was a lot. And then I made this note because I was thinking about Will Ferrell, which made me think about like all the SNL people that there have been. And I'm curious. And I asked James this question, but I want to pose it to all of you because I think you can tell a lot about a person by which era of SNL is their favorite.
You like the Maya Rudolph era.
I like the Maya Rudolph era. She is so funny. I love Maya Rudolph.
See, to me, now, it's inappropriate of me to comment on Maya Rudolph's entire catalog of work because I've only seen a very slight amount of it. But to me, Maya Rudolph is a very funny individual who I don't get the vibe improvs that well. She might. I really don't know. But I've never found her to be as funny as some other people.
What would be your era then? The John
Fucking-
Mulaney era?
I don't like SNL very much.
That's fair. A lot of people don't.
I find the jokes that come out of the writers' room for SNL largely unfunny, especially the more commentary they put on. However, I also find a lot of one-off sketches or individual filmed sketches to be just Magnus. So good.
One of your favorite sketches is, and I don't know their names, so no one come at me, but I don't watch it enough to tell you. But the two that write the jokes for each other and have them read them.
I do. It's when it's at the news desk. It's Michael Shea and Colin Jost. They are very, very funny. And I think that bit in itself is funny. I think you could slap any number of people into those roles, but those two in particular are such good friends, and I think their rapport is so good that the bit works really, really well with them. I don't know. There's been I really loved Bill Hader's work on SNL. I think he's incredible. I like Will Ferrell, but Will Ferrell's stuff on SNL, I liked a lot of it, but a lot of it was the same type of like, oh, that's funny because it's bad. Like his the cowbell sketch.
Oh,
it's funny because it's bad. It's awful, but it's funny because of that.
That's the perfect way to describe Will Ferrell's comedy.
Will Ferrell's comedy is funny because the situations are always bad.
Yeah.
And I mean, he breaks from that in his role in Elf. The situations in Elf aren't bad. They're because they can't be real situations. They're so far beyond reality that they're just situations, and you suspend your disbelief, and it's funny anyway. But in Anchorman, the situations are so bad, and I think the movie plays really well because everyone handshakes at the very beginning of the movie and goes, "Okay, this is going to be a torrent of awful, hedonistic, divisive, and terrible jokes. And I'm going to laugh at every single one because they are uncomfortable."
I don't like comedy that makes me feel uncomfortable.
Doesn't like art, does she? The joke, settle down.
I was like, you're pulling risky cards tonight. So yeah, that was my big thing is I was thinking about all the different eras of SNL and why I like some over others. I also think when John Mulaney was on the writing staff, that was a solid era of SNL.
Listen, coked up John Mulaney writes some of the best goddamn jokes I ever heard.
I'm so glad that you're clean and healthy.
I am so glad he's not on cocaine anymore.
My first laugh happened when we were introduced to Brick. And like I said,
such a good...
most of my laughs, I did keep count. I don't think I hit 10. Let me see. No, I hit 9. I hit right under 10. But my first actual laugh was when we meet Brick and he's putting
mayonnaise in the toaster.
Oh. No, he's giving they introduce him as like the weatherman, the meteorologist. Brick, and he's like
the Middle East.
Yeah, he goes, and it's 48 in the Middle East, which is the middle of America,
vaguely into the middle.
And I did chuckle at that. So
that's funny. I really like the joke when they're at the party.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, all right.
You gotta wait.
I'll let it burn.
So that was my first laugh because we go from seeing Ron Burgundy get ready for his show to meeting the rest of his news team, which is the field reporter Brian, the sportscaster Champ, and the meteorologist Brick. And the only reason I'm glad James puts up these dang summaries anymore is so that I can actually know character names instead of just talking about actors, because if you look at my notes, I wrote Steve Carell about 15 times. Because it wasn't until about halfway through the movie that I actually heard anyone say his name again, other than the quick intro. So we get introduced to the news team, they do a newscast, and then we are told by the station director, which that guy gets cast in the same roles all
Does
the
he?
time.
Who is it? Let me see.
Uh,
I'll dig into it.
The guy that plays Ed Harkin, he also gets put as the announcer in Pitch Perfect. Like, he's always like that kind of role, that kind of
Fred
person.
Willard?
Yeah.
I don't think he's in Pitch Perfect.
Is he not? I'm pretty sure.
What year was that?
Now you've got me questioning my whole life. I'm pretty sure he's in Pitch Perfect.
No.
With Elizabeth Banks? Who plays opposite Elizabeth Banks then?
No.
I feel very gaslit
No.
by my own brain. Okay, well, while you're talking about that, their number one news team in whatever area this is.
San Diego.
Oh, yeah, they say it so many times.
San Diego.
How could I forget that it was San Diego?
Honestly, they said it a million times.
Yeah, his whole catchphrase is "Stay classy, San Diego."
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
But so they throw a party because they're still number one, which it sounds like they throw a party every week that they're number one.
Yes.
And
John Michael Higgins is opposite Elizabeth Banks.
Oh, I must get them confused a lot.
They have the same head.
They do. And they interact the same. Okay. Anyways, all that aside, I take that comment back, I guess. We're at a party. They all jump in the pool. A guy in a suit jumps in the pool.
Yes.
I have multiple questions about that. Why are you in a suit at a pool party?
They were doing drugs in the 70s. I don't know what to tell you.
And then why did
if we ever got to watch The Fucking Nice Guys, you would get another movie about the 70s that's oddly similar.
Is that even on our list?
I think it was a couple times, but we need to put it back on there because I need to get you to watch The Nice Guys. It's so good.
And then why would you jump in a pool in your suit?
Because Ron Burgundy just jumped in the pool.
I have a question about this movie.
Okay.
Because it goes, and this is the only time this happens, and that's why I think I'm confused, is it's almost like we jump from this narrational comedy, so like a third person telling us the story, into like a mockumentary very briefly at the party, where you go to each one of the individual newscasters and they do like a full fourth wall break at the camera and tell you about themselves.
Yes.
Why?
Because it's breaking formula and funny.
Is it?
In some instances, I think it is funny to break formula. Not that breaking formula is in itself funny, but I think if you execute it appropriately, I think it can be funny. In this movie, it's a bit jarring to have not only a narrator and then to get into the story. Because usually when you have a film where there's a narrator at the beginning and the end, or a beginning, middle, and the end, like this one, you narrate and then you transition into the movie and you stay in that pocket for a little while. In this movie, we do that, but we hard left right off the jump to have this brief fourth wall break, and then we never do it again.
Yeah.
Which is, I think it's a joke, but I think it doesn't play as well as they maybe thought it was going to. I still think it's funny situationally because only those characters break the fourth wall. Everyone else just continues to act like everything's completely normal and fine, and what's happening is not unhinged. But that in itself, I think, was a joke that was a lot funnier 20 years ago when this movie came out. Speaking of, it did release in July of 2004, which is 20 years ago right now.
Hey, look at that.
Hot diggity.
We could almost say it was on purpose.
A well-timed episode. So yeah, I think it's just I think it's a joke to do a fourth wall break. And also, rumor has it that there was so much film left over from this movie that they could have made a second feature-length film with what was left. So there's I would wager there's probably one or two more times where a fourth wall gets broken by one of the newscasters. that just got cut out.
Okay. I guess. Okay.
I'm not saying it's good, but I think there was probably a reason for it at some point, and I don't know that we actually know what that is.
I feel like I'm going to ruin this movie for a lot of people just because I'm asking people to explain jokes to me, and that's everybody's least favorite thing, is when you have to explain jokes.
Explaining jokes is the funniest.
I don't feel like this movie has aged well, but not because of the reasons that you would think this movie hasn't aged well. Like,
why not?
well, because I can understand like humor in a certain era versus humor now. Especially when you're talking about like satire and parody. It's why I think that Huckleberry Finn is a solid work of American literature, especially when satire, even with certain words being used, because it was a satire of the time, not necessarily like in the lens that it is now. It feels stale, especially with how we've grown, and we've talked a little bit about this already, so I'm not going to like dig too deep into it. I just don't feel like it's aged as well as it could have. It just feels kind of meh. It feels like very early 2000s comedy. And I could say that about even some of my favorite movies like 50 First Dates. I don't think 50 First Dates has aged well comedically. Most Adam Sandler
movies don't age.
They're great when they happen, and then
are they?
Depends on the movie. I think everyone can at least name one favorite Adam Sandler movie. 50 First Dates is mine.
I'd have to think about it.
Then we meet the other protagonist, ? Of this movie, which is Veronica Corningstone.
Christina Applegate.
In one of the cheesiest, on purpose, like attractive female introductions in a movie I've ever seen. Like, she gets a spotlight. We don't see her face for an extended period of time, which is also like, it's a good commentary on like men falling in love with women before they even like just from behind. Like it's all very good. It's well done. That whole sequence is really well done.
I have another point about that actually too.
Go for it.
Okay. Christina Applegate in what, 2004?
Sure, yeah, that's when the movie was.
Objectively very pretty. Pretty lady, right?
Not my type.
However, the script makes and I mean, it's a script, so it could have been written with anyone in mind. But the script makes a lot of jokes about how fat her ass is, right? People like really go in on that. And
she supposedly has a great butt.
Yeah. When you start in the scene you're talking about, where you get to see Christina Applegate in her dress from behind.
It's a pantsuit.
With the, is it a pantsuit? Mm-hmm. I thought she was in a dress at the party.
Nah, because you can really tell because like the pleats accentuate her butt.
She doesn't have a big ass.
No.
Nor is it, I mean, it's there, but it's not like, it doesn't beckon to you. It like.
I don't think men need a lot though. No offense.
Well, I think that's the joke. I think while Christina Applegate's undoubtedly talented, I think they may have gone through the casting and been like, what if we get someone who is very pretty, but doesn't have like overly accentuated like curves or anything like that, so that we can really drive home the idea that these guys are
pigs,
this perverse. Yeah. Like, I think the joke was even in just casting her, was that she's very talented, but also like she's kind of very thin and straight.
Okay.
I just think it's a subliminal joke that the target audience, or the people who really loved this movie right at the get-go, was a lot of dudes who didn't track with the message of it at all. And I think
so, like the audience of The Boys.
Correct. Oh yeah, we really gotta watch that show. I think the the target audience didn't really get hit quite as hard as the core demographic that they make fun of in this movie. And those people, I don't think, would get that joke because she looks like a normal human being.
Okay.
And isn't overly sexual in any particular way.
Okay. Ron Burgundy hits on her like immediately.
So poorly.
And very badly.
So poor.
And if I could have taken a snapshot, like I do for James sometime, of my face while that happened, and you put it side by side with Veronica's face, it was the same face. Like we were just making the same slightly concerned, slightly disgusted, really annoyed face. Confused. Ron says that Ron also, while he's hitting on her, talks about his apartment and that he has a lot of really large books in his apartment.
I have many leather-bound books.
And I got confused because I thought we were at his house. And then
It's literally just a house party.
I was like, then I have a secondary question of whose house do we just go party at every week when we get number one on the news stations? I do like...
I don't know.
I have to take this comment back because eventually, like, she kind of transverses into the universe. But for a little bit there, it was kind of nice to know there was kind of like a straight man character in Veronica.
Yeah.
I called it someone who's not drinking the Kool-Aid of the universe, is what I said. But then eventually she kind of turns into...
She falls in love with Ron in 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
It was really kind of like upsetting. Like I would really hope, like, I think it would be even funnier, and if I could go back and like suggest something, if just Veronica is just like a normal person throughout the entire fucking movie and just like does normal people things and like interacts like a normal person, and then everybody else keeps doing what they're doing and the story plays out the exact same way. Like, I think that'd be really funny. I think they're
But then we can't meme on the straight white popular rich guy always gets his bag.
I know, but I think it'd be really... I think it'd be interesting to just have a straight woman or a straight man in the...
You do, his name is Brick.
Brick is not a straight person in that he's in a different universe that is not the same universe, nor is it our universe. He is somewhere else.
Brick, where did you get a hand grenade?
Steve Carell is so far the funniest one in this movie.
That will remain true for the remainder.
Because after this, everybody comes back to work like the next day, and they're all hungover and trashed, and they're talking about their wild night and what happened to them. Like, one person woke up in I
woke up in some Japanese family's rec room.
Yeah, and so everyone's going through the night, and then Steve Carell just goes, "I ate a red candle," and
I ate a big red candle.
Yeah, that was my second laugh of the movie.
Every time Brick says a line, America laughed.
Literally, my next three notes are counting my laughs, and they're all Steve Carell laughs. So, we then get told that the reason this chick was at this party was because she's joining the news team.
Hell yeah.
And I've got like this before, actually, where someone you don't know is joining your company or joining in a role that you don't expect them to, and you interact with them like a normal human, or like you would, like, not like a normal human, but like how you would interact with anyone else normally. So like Ron hitting on her and then having it turned completely upside down and realizing, oh, you fucked up.
Classic.
I've had that happen in real life. It's one of the most horrible things. So really feel for Ron Burgundy as we find out that Veronica Corningstone is joining the news team as like a bit reporter. Like, she gets like the...
Not to get like 2024 on everything. She's a DEI hire.
Yes.
They wouldn't have hired her on if the network didn't look at the news team and go, oh, we need diversity.
Mm-hmm. She's a DEI hire.
And so she wants to be an anchor, and they're like, what about if you just do some bullshit?
she's a DEI hire, and like I said, she kind of gets those bit stories. She kind of gets the Bruce Almighty stories that he's always mad about getting, like of like
Yeah.
the cat fashion show, and this lady has a really good recipe for meatloaf, and I'm like, so she just
Let me go report on the fucking waterfall.
So she kind of gets that, but all the men are upset because a woman is a report. She's a journalist. She's still on their like level, and they're upset about that because you can't be an anchor woman. It's anchor man. So all the men are yelling, and then Steve Carell gets my third laugh for
Loud! I don't know what we're yelling about!
loud noises. Like, that was really funny.
So funny. I love how everyone also just treats Brick the whole time. Like, people just treat him like it's a grown-up child.
Mm-hmm. I think at one point in the movie, the station director, Ed, he goes, I could put Brick up there, but he doesn't know what he's talking about unless there's a storm moving through. He's pretty much capable of speaking. So yeah, it was really good. That whole scene was pretty great. I have another one, and I made a note about what it was for, but I don't.
What does it say?
It says clothing. It's another Steve. I said Steve Carell will carry me through this movie, and then it says clothing joke laugh count 4. But I don't remember what joke he made about clothing.
Where did you get your suit? The toilet store?
Maybe.
Is that it?
Maybe.
That's the only joke I can think of about where he made a joke about the clothes.
So
they were memeing on the fucking other news team.
The news team goes and storms out, and they run into another news team as they're bitching about Veronica. And this is the second place news team, and they have a little, like, tit for tat with them for a little bit. And one of them is an insult. James is right, where he goes, the toilet store, and I chuckled.
Ooh, bad joke, and you laughed.
Sometimes the bad jokes are funny. I'm gonna try to get to my about halfway through my notes, so we're almost there. So then we switch perspectives of storytelling for a little bit, even though it's a third person perspective the whole time with the narrator. The narrator starts narrating more about what's going on with Veronica than with Ron.
Can I take a brief pause to run back to one of my favorite Brick moments that we didn't comment on?
Because you'd missed it because we were talking about the fourth wall break, and it was during the party.
It is the fourth wall break that Brick has, because it's the most lines he says at a time. And I'll read you the quote, and bear in mind this was written 20 years ago.
I still wouldn't say that word on YouTube.
That's fair. I'll just leave
because I know what it is.
Yeah. Because I'm Brick Tamlin. People seem to like me because I am polite and I am rarely late. I like to eat ice cream, and I really enjoy a nice pair of slacks. Years later, a doctor will tell me I have an IQ of 48, and he'll finish his joke. But he's the only person in the movie who comments to the viewer like he's in the future already, which is an extra layer to the fourth wall break. Like, the character of Brick is just so fascinating to me because
I told you he's in his own universe.
I gotta wonder, like, what was it like writing Brick? Because you have to look at Brick like he's a superhero a little bit. Like, he just does shit and it gets laughs. Because he's completely unaware of anything at all times. Or he's hyper aware of everything at all times. It doesn't make any sense. It's the greatest sort of buoy in this sea of bullshit.
I feel like Brick phases in and out of existence in this universe, and that's how so much of the things happen. Like, at one point he's just standing with the other news team during the battle later, and how did he get over there? We don't know. We never saw him move. Like, those sorts of things. I feel like he just ceases to exist in the universe and then pops back up randomly.
He also kills a man.
He does.
Such a good movie. It's so
I wouldn't go that far. So we switch perspectives to Veronica for a little bit, and we kind of see her experience through the news team and all the men hitting on her. They all take turns. She's very good at fighting the patriarchy. Barbie would be proud.
She hits Champ in the balls. immediately.
And so casually. She's like, oh, I just need to grab this. Oh, thank you. There it is. Like,
this is the quickest full shaft, man. Just right in there.
I quoted this joke because they eventually get really like frustrated. Or no, this is when what's his name? The other one. Brian
Fantana?
Yeah, Brian's going to hit on her.
Yeah.
And he makes a joke that 60% of the time it works every time.
Oh, the Sex Panther cologne.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
And I did get a laugh at that one because
I gotta tell you, it smells like pure gasoline.
It was really funny. So everybody's going to hit on her. And then it's finally Ron's turn, and he somehow like flubs it so hard and then recovers insanely and then has a very visible giant boner and still gets the date. I don't know a lot about dick physics. No, I need you to recover because I have questions. I have questions about dick physics and I need you to answer them. What do you mean? Well, typically, like I know during sweatpants, I've seen that happen with like when you're wearing sweatpants, like a boner acting like that, like sticking like straight out. But I feel like with like tighter pants, like pleats or things like that, it wouldn't just boop like that and stick straight out and hold. So would that work as exactly as it did in the movie?
It can.
It's not the explanation.
Listen, we're taking a moment in our show to talk about my dick for some reason.
Not yours.
You said you've seen it. You said you've seen it.
No, not
with
like
me. You said that.
No, I didn't say you. I've said I've seen it happen in sweatpants. I've seen a guy get a boner in sweatpants and it make like the perfect little poop. But
Huh? It made a what now? What did it do?
If in those type of pants, if he got a boner and it was hanging down and it went boop, would it stick out like that? Physics.
What sound do you think a boner makes? Boop? Just whoop? It's like a little slide whistle. Whoop?
Exactly.
That's what you think, but
You really need to know. I need someone to answer. If it's not you,
God.
there are people in chat, there are men in chat. Does it do that?
I think it depends on how heavy the material of the pants is.
That's what I needed to know, because I know it wouldn't work that way in jeans, because the jeans are too firm.
And the type of underwear you're wearing, assuming you are wearing it.
Okay, there's more that goes into dick physics than I thought.
What? Huh? What?
Okay, moving on. I'm not going to get a clear answer, so it's fine. I didn't know if it would work in those type of pants for it to just
I think it
straight out and hold there like that for that extended period of time.
I think it surely could.
Okay.
It would have been maybe even funny. He had a mustache, so you couldn't really do it, but it would have been even funnier if it was accompanied by a slow trickle of blood out of the nose. As in anime.
Okay. Never mind. So after all that,
you asked.
Ron, I know that you can become erect and pitch a tent, but I'm concerned about the fabric of the pants making that feasibly possible in this scene.
It's just you want me to call up the fucking costumers and ask him what his pants were made of?
They're like pleated khakis. The reason I say this is because I've seen a guy get a boner in pleated khakis and it didn't do that. In like dress pants, so I need to know if it was just there and boop and would it work? Because I don't think it would. I think I I need to wrap this episode here because I think I've lost all control and I don't think there's a recovery at this point.
I don't own any of those pants.
No, you're not the person I'm talking about when I'm talking about people I've seen with boners in these type of pants. You're not the guy that I saw get a boner in sweatpants, and you're not the guy I saw get a boner in khakis. Both of these times, actually, I've been an audience member, so...
So what show?
It wasn't a show.
So what? I need to know more.
Okay, story time. So
I really don't think we should record it, but I need to know more.
In college, I was in a musical theater class, and there was we were partnered up at one point, so like people had to do like different scenes from this musical that we were studying. It was Camelot.
Uh-huh.
And at one point there was a guy partnered with a certain redhead who I cast in my show.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And they had to kiss in their song, and they did, and it was immediate, and he decided to wear gray sweatpants that day to the class, and everyone saw, and we all just kind of pretended that we didn't. And that's where we'll wrap this episode. Okay, we'll talk about more about Anchorman next time. Bye-bye.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm gonna call my therapist.
Okay. I genuinely just wanted to know about the pants and the boner. That's all I needed. Y'all don't get a vote. I'm gonna go shove some ice cream in my mouth, because, like I said, I'm starving every 2 fucking seconds. Anchor... That's Anchorman? No, that's Anchorman. Okay. It was not, you couldn't not see it. Okay? I wasn't looking. When you're eye level with it, because they're up here and you're in a seat in an audience. Stop twisting this around on me! Okay. I got a better explanation off camera, and my brain is happy and satisfied now. I am content with my answer. I asked James why he was not able to provide me said answer when I asked him about the physics before, and he said his brain blue screened when I started talking about cocks. So, you know, we're never gonna get monetized on YouTube. That's fine. It's fine. Oh, I understand now. I understand the question that I have, and my brain can relax because I needed an answer. My neurodivergent ass wouldn't let it fucking go. I needed to know. Okay. Close that one. Saved. Yes. All right. No, he gave an explanation. Stop it. Behave. He didn't demonstrate. He just told me about it. You mean people. Mean people. I learned it has a lot to do with underwear and gravity. So, I was partially right. Depending. That's all that matters. You all think that I was doing this as a bit or as a joke, but I really had questions. I don't have one. I don't have a penis. I don't understand how they work. I know you said if the material is stretchy enough. And I agree with you. That's like why I knew that like it would do that in sweatpants, but I just needed to know about the particular type of pants. If it would do that in those, or how it would do that if it did do that. And so, yeah, I got my, I did physics. Dick physics. They work through much. Honestly, penises are weird, and basically, oh my god. Share this podcast with your friends, but maybe not your family. Or your family, you know, no judgment. Yeah. The things that I've said on this channel that will live in infamy in the internet are too many. Blood magic. Ah, it's blood bending. It's blood bending. Oh. Dicks are just blood bending. Everyone's a bender. Every guy, at least. Sokka, you are a bender. Are you coming back? James is making himself coffee, although I don't think he needs it after that conversation. Ask James about the meme I sent because I don't care if I can post it. I don't think I'll let you post it in the chat. But I did hear that you guys were having a great time in whatever this little secret chat is. He can't drink yet. He can't drink because I'm still pregnant. He does need a whiskey. Well, he needs a gin. He needs something. But he can't drink yet. He is still sober. The secret group chat that I'm not a part of. Whatever. He can't drink. He promised to stay sober with me the entire time. He said he would stay sober with me because I can't drink. So that's not even a me thing. He's doing this of his own accord. I did not make him. He just loves me or something. You guys couldn't hear what he said, but it was funny. It is super cool of him. He's a great guy. He's a great guy that will take time to explain dick physics to me when I have questions. He also realized something else that we realized is the second incident of this whole boner dick physics thing that I was talking about. We actually observed together. So the khaki one, we were both in an audience. Well, I guess not an audience. It was a recording of a performance that we saw it. So yeah, I don't have enough details to tell the story of that one. But anyone who thinks making adolescents, like teenagers who are going through puberty wearing khaki pants, is a good thing, don't do that.
All right, children, let's talk about boners.
We already talked about boners. It is time to move on to other things.
No, because I have to give the context.
Okay. You have to.
Oh, that's very hot. Oh, that's very hot. That's the hottest coffee I ever did.
Do you need a muted coaster?
Yes.
For recording?
No. You also have to see the meme. Bree sent that so fast. Bree sent that so fast. I thought she might have made it while we were recording. It's fucking hilarious. No. So, Yame. Hi, that's me. I grew up into church, and I sang in the choir, and people would videotape the performances. Because they want to. Oh, I'll send it to you. They want to, like, I don't know, remember
Childhood memories.
something like that, I guess. And
Discord.
yeah, I just had to copy it. Boop boop. Done. So we had seen someone post it on like Facebook or something, and we were just watching it, and I was pointing out people because I was in the video in the choir, and it's really funny to me that you brought it up because I had completely forgotten about it.
Rent free. I don't forget anything.
So, like, I was watching it. We were watching it together, and did I call it out? You called it out. It just makes me laugh so much because it was a performance that me and my choir were giving, and she pointed it out that there was a dude in the front row who had a boner, and you could see it through his goddamn khaki pants. Dude, and like, it was part of our long-winded argument that we've levied against uniforms for anything that isn't work. But like school uniforms, choir uniforms, that shit's all trash, all of it. Yeah, those I remember those pants and those shirts. We would have to tuck the shirts into the pants, so there's no fucking safety net for you. Your shirt won't cover you. There's no world where you have a safety net in case you have a blood rush, all right?
In our choir, we had black, which hides it a lot better.
Hides it immediately. There's no shadow or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Matte black pants, fucking incredible.
Just gotta tape that. You gotta do a tuck.
Tape your dick down. They're not tits. What?
Alrighty.
What the fuck?
Are we done with the penises? Because we really need to start this episode fresh. We need to come back.
You gotta know that the first thing I'm going to say is the thing about boners is...
No, we can't. We gotta move forward. Gotta move forward. I told the story where we wrapped it. We're going forward, so I need everybody to pull their shit together.
Lock it in, chat. We gotta lock it in.
I don't even remember where we are in the movie. Oh, they're about to go on their date. Okay.
They're about to go play the flute at Tino's.
Okay.
And you know what? You were right. There is a collection of SNL people here, but it's mostly bit guys.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Armisen, Chris Parnell, Will Ferrell.
Mm-hmm.
Funnily enough, like, not all of them from the same eras of SNL, but they all are connected via SNL. So Yeah, it was yeah, you were on it. I forgot about it until I was scrolling through the cast, and I was like, "Oh yeah, Chris Parnell's in this movie."
I was like, literally, a lot of SNL people. I'll get to that later. Let me ask her how quickly she needs them.
Do that. Oh man, I laughed a lot less than I thought I was going to during this movie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I fondly remember it, and the parts I remember fondly, I did enjoy. But I think there was a time where memeing on this gratuitous, misogynistic style of person was really good, and I think we've done it enough now, though. Like, we've really played it to death, I think.
See, now you're getting too serious. We gotta get
All
back
right,
into
all right.
the recording. All right.
I'll
Alrighty.
get into it. Don't worry.
3, 2, 1.
So the thing about the pants,
Oh my god, you said you wouldn't do it.
I'm not. He's wearing different ones when he goes to play the flute at Tino's. Did you know Will Ferrell has played the flute since he was in like grade school, I think. He's a flautist.
You're skipping over the whole car.
I haven't read your notes.
You're skipping over
Oh,
plot.
the car. Yes, the plot. I'm so sorry. San Diego.
German for whale.
Whale's vagina. Did that make you laugh?
It did, thinking back about it, just because of everything that happened previous episode.
It was found by the Germans, and they named it San Diego, which means a whale's vagina. So stupid.
Do you think that Will made up those jokes about made up those San Diego facts?
I really don't know. He could have.
They were very funny.
This is CityWavesCinema. That's America. I'm James. Hi.
Yep. Intros. They're important. We're talking about Anchorman, which James left out. He was so close to getting a speed run through. So yeah, we go sit and they go on their date. It's not a date, but it's a date.
The unofficial date.
And they go on a car drive to look over the city on like a cliff. He runs about some San Diego facts, which we just talked about.
All of them are false.
And she even tells him what they mean because she speaks Spanish, which
San. The name scheme of San whatever just means saint.
Yeah,
that person.
And Diego, which I don't know.
I don't know if she speaks Spanish.
She does, because later during coitus...
Oh, yeah, that's right. She does. She speaks to him in Spanish. She goes, no, stop. I don't know what that means.
So she speaks Spanish.
Oh, my God.
After the San Diego info dump in the car...
The whale's vagina.
We go to a bar where...
Tino's. It's a restaurant.
Ron is very well known.
3 fingers of Glenlivet. He doesn't even pour 3 fingers. He pours him a full glass of scotch.
And
it's so much scotch.
I will say, no, I've been to a lot of bars. I've never actually ever heard anyone order drinks like they do in the movies. I know they're overplaying it in this one where they're kick it in the side, blah, 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 blah. But no one ever goes up to a bar and just says random shit like that. At least not anymore. Maybe they did in the 70s.
Maybe they did in the 70s. That was 20 some odd years before I was born.
And then, yes, James is right. Will Ferrell plays the flute. Jazz flute, specifically.
The jazz flute.
Which is not typically an instrument you hear in jazz, to my knowledge.
I took a class on jazz. You'd think I'd know this shit.
I looked back at you like you were going to contribute there, and you just looked more confused.
I hadn't even thought about it. Hold on.
And my first question was, can Will Ferrell play the flute? Apparently he can, and he's been doing it for a very long time. My second question was, can he play any other instruments?
Unclear.
My third being, did they pick the flute specifically as a gag if he could play other instruments?
Well, since he and Adam McKay wrote the script, I bet you they picked the flute because he plays it.
Okay.
But the flute is listed not in the top 3, but it is in the selection of instruments typically used in jazz.
Look, I learned things. I'm learning a lot tonight, guys. I have learned many things. And this magical flute playing is enough to get Veronica's panties in a twist. And
I wouldn't even say they're in a twist. I'd say they're on the floor.
True. And she instantly falls at least 72%. It's a joke from later. In love with him. And he falls head over
100%.
fucking heels in love with her. And all I have to say is he's not, I know it's a movie and I know it's written and blah, 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 but he's like not that alluring. He's not that attractive. Nothing he did in the entire time that they were together, from interaction 1 at the party to now, is enough for the reaction that Veronica has. I can suspend my disbelief for a lot, but that's a lot. It's a lot. Like, it's so much. And it's just, it goes from like 0 of her being like, not a date, Ron, to like 100 of her like sleeping with him in like no time.
I think it memes. It's the first time you see Veronica like step outside the character of the straight man in the script to be part of the bit as well, and it's weird. If you were, I think you could get away with writing this movie today and producing this movie today, but I think not only are you having to contend with it being 50 years removed, not 30 years removed, but the bit, you'd have to rewrite Veronica's character away from falling in love with him, because I don't think that plays with modern audiences the way it did with 2004 audiences. Like, I think people wouldn't. I think it's an issue of,
I mean, well,
reading it correctly. I think people would read it incorrectly.
Also, well, if Disney is like any example, like, we're really moving out of this era of like instant love stories. Like, we want to see things like Elemental, where it's like,
give me character development.
Yeah, we don't want them to fall in love right away. We want to see like a real relationship.
Whatever you do, keep Kathleen Kennedy away from your script.
Oh my god. Not gonna.
Kathleen Kennedy! She gonna kill me! Let's check it, make her gay!
If you've not seen the Pandaverse of South Park, it's worth a watch. If you don't like South Park, it's still worth a watch. The Pandaverse is a good special on Paramount, not sponsored.
Oh my god, they swing for Disney's head, dude.
They often swing for Disney's head.
They swing with the force of Paul Bunyan, the mythical folklore hero. God damn.
So we then have what I will describe as the best sex scene in a movie I have ever seen, because I didn't have to watch anyone awkwardly have sex. And I really liked the metaphoric display of Pleasure Town.
Oh, that was very funny.
Over like watching two people in a bed. Yeah. I don't know. It was just really entertaining. I was like, this is great. It's like, I know what's happening. Everybody knows what's happening, but I don't have to watch it. It's fantastic.
God, that's funny. That animated sequence, I had forgotten that sequence existed. It was really funny.
It just happened, and I thought like, oh, are we gonna like cut back, or is it gonna like interplay here and there? Like, are we gonna get a back and forth with it? No, it was just a really weird animated thing with unicorns where Rainbow came out of their junk at the end of it, and it was that was the sex, and that was amazing. The end. I really love Baxter. Baxter's probably my second favorite character next to Brick in this entire fucking movie.
Jack Black kicks that motherfucker off the bridge.
I'm not there yet. I was going to talk about how cute it was that he got in his pajamas even though his nighttime routine was not not done because Ron was busy getting laid. I just like him in his little dog pajamas, and it made me laugh.
All right.
Which is laugh count number 6. Then we get the down low, because she asks Ron to keep his mouth shut, and he proceeds to say yes and does that not at all.
Not even a little bit.
He immediately goes to the boys. The
Veronica Corningstone and I had sex and I'm in love. Did I say that too loud? You kind of shouted it.
And then they ask him what it's like to be in love, and then he proceeds to describe love with one of the raunchiest sex songs that exists.
They all sing it, and it sounds phenomenal.
I mean, most of them are really talented singers and performers. Like,
I don't even know if they sang it or if they dubbed it. It was just really good.
They sang it. Steve Carell can sing. I mean, like, he wouldn't put it as probably like his top skill, but he can. Same with Will Ferrell. But yeah, they sing "Afternoon Delight."
Is that a raunchy song?
It's about a quickie in the afternoon, sir.
Dog, I've never heard that song before a day in my life.
It's about a quickie in the afternoon.
Thank you for the heads up. I'm gonna go look up the lyrics now.
Yeah, "Afternoon Delight." It's about a sexual rendezvous. I'm here to provide this context, and you want to know where I learned that from? At
a media class.
Glee. James said everything makes sense.
That tracks.
Holly Holiday. We then have another newscast where, again, Ron is unable to keep his love for Veronica quiet. And also the cameraman is Seth Rogen. There's so many people, and I found some of them, and I know I didn't find all of them. There are so many people that just randomly appear throughout this movie for like a scene and then disappear. It's crazy. I hate Ron more now because he's giving me secondhand embarrassment, and I hate that. I hate that. See, this is case in point to what we were just talking about, because my next note is, you've known her for like 2 days. That's not love. That's infatuation. It's not love. And then his boys get upset because he's been spending so much time with Veronica. And this is where I have a question of how much time has passed between their first rendezvous and him announcing it on air to, like, she's upset that she keeps getting a bunch of bit stories and demanding more from the station director, and the boys are acting like Ron has been gone for like weeks. So in a movie standpoint, I'm just a little confused about how long
would you like it? Oh yeah, no, in terms of time,
yeah,
unclear.
Okay.
There is one noted time block where you fast forward an amount of time,
and it's 3 months
towards
later.
The end of the movie, and it says 3 months later. Yes. Would you like a list of some of the cameos in this movie?
Sure.
Seth Rogen, Jack Black, Ben Stiller, Danny Trejo, Tim Robbins, Judd Apatow, who produced it, Luke Wilson, and the director Adam McKay all made cameos. And Adam McKay, the director's daughter, is the little girl at the end who mocks Ron Burgundy as a child. So there's just a shitload of people in this movie.
They could have done one more, made it 10.
Plus Vince Vaughn.
Oh, there you go. So, I don't get why everyone is so in love with this guy, Ron Burgundy. That includes Veronica and Champ.
Oh,
apparently.
Yeah. Champ comes out of the woodwork and almost the closet.
We also keep getting these one-off scenes from Ed Harkin about his kids, because the principal keeps calling him on the phone. And I would really like a movie based around this guy's kids, because it just sounds like a way more entertaining time. One of them's doing acid. Like, I am curious what's going on over there. And then Jack Black's in the movie
Temporarily.
as a motorcyclist. And he hurts Baxter because Ron throws a burrito on accident.
Makes him crash his bike.
And he crashes his bike, which is the only thing he loves. So he takes Ron's dog and kicks him over a bridge into water. But why? Why we gotta hurt the dog? And Ron is so distressed that he's about to miss his first broadcast. And Veronica, seeing that he's late, goes, "This is my shot. I'm gonna take it. I can do it." And in this, she calls her boobs exceptional.
Once again, and this is where you really solidified my argument for me from earlier.
Oh, because I said out loud, I was like, her boobs are not that great.
I mean, they're fine.
They're all right.
Exceptional breasts, she says.
No, she says exquisite. They're exquisite. Exquisite is a bit of a stretch.
We didn't get to see him. She's wearing a pantsuit, but
they're.
Listen, I'm spoiled, okay? But like,
and you know what? Get yourself confidence, girl. I really shouldn't be downing you. Like, if you are confident in your body and yourself, like, more power to you. Your boobs are not my type of boobs that I like.
I also don't have the type of boobs she likes, so that's just, that's how that's going for me. But no, that really, when you said that out loud while we were watching it, it really reinforced my notion that I was like, I think they specifically they cast someone of a more slight figure so that it really, really ramps up how piggish the guys are in the movie. Because it's like, is she, I mean, she's got a pretty face, but like, is she all that in a bag of chips? You start to wonder to yourself.
I like your thought process on it. I like that could be something that they're using.
I don't even know if it is. Maybe I'm reading that into it, which is a thing you can do when you look at art.
So then Ron calls the station. Ron calls the station from
It's an ancient device. It's called a payphone. We don't have them anymore.
From a phone booth. And it goes on for all of some time of him being in a glass case of emotion, which I didn't know was from this movie.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
And I didn't know that was from that movie, and it goes on for all of the some time.
All right, okay. There's a variety of joke that is not a joke. It is the funny is loud type of joke, in which saying something that it might not necessarily be funny, but if you say it really loud, it becomes funny, doesn't appeal to all types of people. It really doesn't. However, I love a good loud is funny joke. And this whole scene is only loud is funny. There's not anything actually funny. There's not anything clever going on in the scene. But he's just screaming the whole time. And that makes it funny to me. So the loud is funny crowd gets a W off of this scene.
Veronica has a stellar broadcast because Ron is inconsolable. And then they have a fight because she took his place and he's mad about that. And she wanted him to be happy about that, but he's not happy about that because he is still part of the patriarchy and misogynistic and masculine or toxic masculinity. And so they get in a fight and they break up. And then the news team, the boys, work together against her, like during the reshoot of the intro. which I actually really enjoyed watching that part. Like they reshoot the intro to the actual news broadcast, and all the boys like purposely work against her in it, and it's really good. And so we go from that, and they have a couple like broadcasts. She's co-anchor now, like all this stuff's going on, and we go. They're so upset that they decide that the best way to handle it is some retail therapy. So they're going to go find some suits, some new suits. And instead, what ends up happening is they end up in a back alley because Brick took them on a shortcut, and it leads to a several news team gang brawl.
Yes. It's like West Side Story for clowns.
Like there's, I think, like 5 different news teams there, including the first place and the second place, which we already met. The Spanish broadcast and like a couple other ones that aren't really important, but they're there. And are just there to be cameo fillers, basically. And it's a chaotic scene. It's really funny.
Rick, where did you get a hand grenade?
Brick does have a hand grenade, and that was my 7th laugh of the movie. There are also people who have a far better chance in this fight than others. Like, some people have hand grenades and machetes, and other people have, like, sticks and brass knuckles. So, unfair advantage. Also, all these people just pull weapons out of their suit pockets, which is funny, but also, like, why? And then I laughed again because Brick's just walking through all the chaos, like, holding his hand grenade and just, like, waving it around, but not, like, pulling the plug, just like, I have a grenade. And that made me laugh, so that was laugh 8. Then the police come and the fight kind of just disperses without any real repercussions other than Brick definitely murdered someone by throwing a pitchfork.
Trident.
Trident.
It was a whole trident.
It was a trident, not a pitchfork. It looked like a pitchfork to me when they threw it, but then they kept referring to it as a trident, and I couldn't really tell.
The center spear tip was barbed at the top.
Okay.
And it arced out in a flamboyant way to make a trident.
So they get back to the office, and then they're still kind of up in arms.
Boy, that escalated quickly. There's so many memes that come out of this movie. Like, you've seen the "boy, that escalated quickly" meme, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, straight out of that scene.
They're still kind of all uppity, and then Veronica comes in, and so then her and Ron fight.
They get in a fist fight.
Like, he chucks her over a desk.
And she hits him in the head with a machine and mace.
The reaction that happens in the office is not the reaction I thought would happen to him yaw-yeeting her over a desk. It kind of, it was one of the few times that the movie kind of, like, what's the word?
I don't know.
It wasn't what I expected to happen. It did. There's a word for it. There's a term, but I don't know what it is right now. And so, in order to get back at him for that, Veronica messes with the teleprompter. And something about Ron that we learn throughout this movie is that Ron will read whatever the teleprompter says.
I'm Ron Burgundy?
And so she puts, go fuck yourself, San Diego, at the end of the teleprompter. And everyone immediately, in a very cartoonish way, because logically this would never happen, or it might, I don't know, the world's weird right now, basically comes for him like a fucking mob with torches and pitchforks.
The blow up was unreal.
And hates him instantly.
Crazy. Nobody talks about my city like that.
The cute kid, there's a cute kid who apparently
director's daughter
is the director's daughter, who was very funny and delivered a very good line.
Just be ashamed of yourself.
Was great. And then Ron's life kind of sucks for a little bit, for at least
Spirals
3
out of
months.
control. Well, wait. Before, uh, before the 3-month bit happens, she calls him to apologize, but doesn't speak while he's in the throes of disaster in his apartment eating takeout.
Uh-huh.
And then he wanders the streets drinking milk in the heat. Or is that after the 3
That's
month
after
thing?
the
That's
3
after the
months.
3 month thing?
Yeah.
Okay. The phone call was before. The walking the streets was after.
I just included it in all in his life
That's
spiraling
fair. That's
out of
fair.
control.
That's fair.
And then the panda, which has been this little side piece, like behind, it's been like this ongoing like thing that they've been reporting on in their little fake newscasts throughout the movie. Apparently there's this panda, and the panda's been pregnant, and now the panda's gonna give birth, and everyone's very excited about this panda giving birth.
Very.
And so everyone's rushing, like all the important newscast anchors are going to go and try to catch the panda giving birth, and everyone wants to get the best shot, and blah blah blah. And Veronica is one of them, because she's now the head of the news team, actually finds a really good shot, and then immediately, and this is something I didn't like about the movie, it's probably my biggest, in a movie that's so nonsensical, this is probably the biggest plot hole for me. Because Veronica statistically has not trusted a single man the entire time she has been in the movie. Like, that's just her character. She doesn't trust any of the men. In fact, every man she will pretty much just like punch in the nuts and let it go.
Yep.
And in this moment, one guy pays her a compliment and she immediately buys into it, and that's what gets her shoved into the bear pit.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't track for me. As a character, as her character, I feel like she would not even like give him the time of fucking day. And you could still play it like that, where she's just like ignoring him and he shoves her into the bear pit. But like the fact that she like engages him at all after he compliments her on being like a good woman newscaster is just, I don't know, it just feels really anti her character the entire time. And it's the one plot hole they have a really hard time with.
Yeah, it's a moment where the character of Veronica breaks again, and it's like you've had two extremes with her so far. She is either the sharp tool who will not be so easily dulled by the male approach, by all her coworkers trying to fuck her, or she's the bimbo who falls for Ron Burgundy instantly. And then you have this other strange third version that appears in the third act who fucking almost is like a normal human, which wouldn't be anything really to sneeze at, except for the fact that up to this point in the movie, she's been one of two people. And you even really have to suspend your disbelief on that. And I don't know, it is one of the downsides of the movie to me, because it feels like the script for her is just a character that's not developed all the way. And that feels really shitty because she's the only female lead. And I feel like, yeah, the movie's memeing on the male image and all that, but I don't know. I feel like you could have done more there to tell the exact same story more cohesively.
Yeah, she could have ended up in the bear pit in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that almost
especially with how cutthroat and gang violency these news teams are.
True. Yeah, no, it's wild. She winds up in the Kodiak bear pit.
Because no one can find Veronica, because she's very visibly from several different people. Like, this is not an enclosed bear pit. Like, it's just out there right next to the panda exhibit. No one can find her, though, in this bear pit. And so this makes Ed have to call Ron because as we've learned, the rest of the news team is kind of pointless except for their specific roles.
They're bad at everything except what they're good at.
Yeah. So they, like, one of them's just the field reporter, one of them's just the sports reporter, and one of them's just the meteorologist, and that's all they can do. So Ed has to call Ron. And Ron, in a superhero change, goes from being a slovenly drunk at the bar back to his clean, shaven, put together Ron Burgundy self, uses a magic conch shell. Which I know is not the way you say that word now, but I'm going to call it that anyways.
It's called a conch.
Uses magic conch shell to summon his news team, which apparently includes Baxter, and Baxter's okay.
Baxter's fine.
Baxter's all right.
He's good, bro.
And Ron gets to the pit, like the panda,
The Kodiak Bear Pit.
he's there, he gets to the zoo.
Yes.
And gets ready to deliver the thing, and then he, miraculously, even though no one else did, hears Veronica whisper shouting, because she doesn't want to wake the bears, in the bear pit. And I'm not gonna lie, I would forgive this movie pretty much everything if he didn't go after her in the bear pit. And he chose to take the story instead. I don't know why, that just plays better in my head than all of them going into the bear pit. I just feel like it would play better. And then we get, like I said, the news team basically all jumps in there to save her. Or save Ron. Ron jumps in there to save her. The news team jumps in there to save Ron. And Brick ends up riding a bear, which is...
It's like a furry tractor.
My final laugh of the movie. And then just when I think this movie can't get any stupider, and as much as I love the dog, suddenly the dog talks to the bears.
Yes.
And convinces the bears not to kill everybody.
Yes.
For reasons.
Correct.
And then, as they're climbing out of the bear pit, the second place news anchor,
Vince Vaughn,
goes to throw Ron back into the bear pit, and literally, like, there's an entire crowd watching this happen, and no one does anything to step in or intervene or anything. He doesn't end up pushing him into the bear pit.
He kisses him on the forehead instead.
I also would have forgiven the entire movie, everything, if he had just yeeted Ron into the bear pit.
No, you wouldn't have.
Oh, I think that'd be hilarious. And then he's like the best newscaster, and him and Veronica are co-anchors. Like, that'd be fucking hilarious. And then I put what the fuck is my last note for this movie, and I don't remember.
Why? Is it because of the wrap-up of all the characters?
Yeah, someone must have had a what the fuck.
Burgundy and Corningstone reconcile. Brian Fantana becomes the host of a reality show called Intercourse Island. Rick Tamlin gets married, has 11 children, and becomes the top political advisor to the George W. Bush White House. And Champ Kind is a commentator in the NFL before getting fired after being accused by Terry Bradshaw of sexual harassment.
I don't know. I just wrote what the fuck.
Oh, is it because Burgundy and Corningstone get to host the news on a CNN level show?
I don't know. The whole ending, what the fuck. What the fuck to the whole movie.
All right.
Yeah, that's Anchorman. That was something that I watched. Yeah. It wasn't off, like I said, I didn't hate it. I either wanted to hate it so bad that I would come in here and just, like, rail on it, or I wanted to actually enjoy it.
I'm sorry you didn't actually enjoy it.
Neither of those things happened. It was just kind of like... I mean, Zoolander's the same way for me, though, where I just watched it and I was like, well, that was a thing that I watched.
Zoolander's wild.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any strong feelings about it. I wouldn't watch it again. It's kind of cool to know where a bunch of the memes come from, but I also am not like a huge meme person
True.
in the first place. So I don't know. It was all right. I don't get the love for it that some people have.
I think the initial love for it was misplaced. Because I think a lot more people identified with Ron Burgundy than identified the fact that they should be making fun of people like Ron Burgundy. And the whole point of the movie is to make fun of people who are like Ron Burgundy.
So again, it's like a The Boys situation.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that that is a fact because I mean this movie came out in 2004. I was 9 years old. Like it was not a time when I was part of the core audience. I grew up to R-rated movies much later.
I'm
So
surprised my father never made me watch this stupid movie.
he might hate it. I don't know. The it the message in this movie is not veiled. It's not hidden. It's not hard to grasp, but I feel like, and this is just an opinion, the core audience that watched it and really enjoyed it back in the day probably identified with Ron and laughed at Brick, and that's the audience. I don't know that that's true, but more and more in modern history, we're finding that people are misreading media deeply. I mean, just like we've said a couple times, just like The Boys, a huge like in the last season, which I haven't watched, they really come out and let you know that the character Homelander is the bad guy. Which, if you have an ounce of media literacy, a single ounce of media literacy, you know from episode 1 of the first season, which I have watched, you know he's the bad guy. I'm not sure at what point in time you could be confused about that at all. Just like in this movie, I'm not sure how you could be confused about the fact that the core 4 broadcasters are larger than life memes about that type of man in the 70s. Like, I don't know. Every character in this movie is a blown up stereotype and very one dimensional, and that's part of the charm to me. You know, I'd rate the movie like 7 out of 10 just because the message is good and I think it's executed pretty well.
Mid.
Uh you're welcome to that opinion. I also think the flute scene is like next level.
Mid.
It's so good. He just like so clunkily and on purpose stomps on those people's drinks and they're just loving it. It's so funny.
This is
So
expensive.
dumb.
He better buy me another drink.
Hey, no, the owner of the club said drinks are on Tino tonight to the whole
Oh,
club.
that's
remember?
right. I thought he was just talking
Well,
about.
he might have just been talking to them. But yeah, no, great movie, great message, stellar cast.
It was a nice breakup from our like psychological weirdness that we've been on.
Don't worry, we're gonna be on one next time.
We've been on a few drug trip movies recently, so it was kind of nice to not do that. But James is right. Our next movie is Black Swan, so we're just jumping straight back into that. So until then, enjoy yourselves, I guess. Have a good time.
Please do.
We'll see you next time. Next time, maybe there will be a child. Who knows?
There might be. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah. I'm assuming you messaged Green Gorilla about the.
Oh yeah, I did.
I thought you would.
A big old paragraph.
Oh,
dude, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I've tried 3 times to watch that movie, and I have gotten partway through all 3 times.
That is
I have not made it all the way through.
Film Theory, Lee's favorite movie.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. It's a trip and a half. It's a Johnny Depp masterpiece of acting, but it is a trip and a half.
We can cross off Anchorman.
Look on that list, and do you see Nice Guys? The Nice Guys?
No.
Does it say Ballad of Buster Scruggs?
It says Ballad of Fuckery Snakes.
Oh my god.
It's
Put the Nice Guys
the
on
Ballad
the
of Songbirds and Snakes, and I don't know why, but that's what I wrote when we decided we should watch that movie, was the Ballad of Fuckery Snakes.
Here's the thing, Brie. It's not Johnny Depp like your Tim Burton Johnny Depp. It's Johnny Depp actually acting.
Oh, like that one movie, the gangster one we saw.
Yeah, about Whitey Bulger.
Yeah.
That's his name. Yes, it's like that.
The one that we actually saw in theaters.
Black Mass.
Yes, that one.
Sleeper, incredible movie.
It was not bad.
No, not Public Enemies. It's
Nice Guys.
No, Black Mass.
Oh, Black Mass? Yes.
Yeah, it's Johnny Depp on drugs the entire time. You know how they made Rango, another Johnny Depp movie, where
never saw it.
Okay, so Rango is a animated movie that is very nonsensical, about a lizard, and to make the movie, they would have full feature-length rehearsals in real life in a studio, acting out the movie like it was a stage play. There's footage of it, and it's kind of like that. Anyways, yeah, you're gonna really like The Nice Guys. It's who plays Ken?
I'm just Ken.
Yes, but who is that?
Oh, Ryan Gosling.
Yes, it's Ryan Gosling.
I thought there was someone Ken in The Nice Guy, like named Ken in The Nice Guys, and you were trying to recall it and not.
No.
You were like, who plays Ken?
Ryan Gosling puts on a physical comedy clinic, the likes of which you don't see it from him ever, right? Like any movie you watch with Ryan Gosling in it, he's not the Jim Carrey of the cast.
He can be funny though.
Yeah, he can be funny.
like Ken and Crazy Stupid Love, I think he was in, or was it Date Night?
No, he was in Crazy Stupid Love.
The one with Emma Stone.
Yeah. In The Nice Guys, he does it again. Masterpiece. It's a flawless piece of comedy from him specifically. The movie has flaws, but it's just so fucking funny. It's so good. It's a goddamn shame we don't have a second one. You could make a series out of that movie, and it would be so worth it. All right. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
I mean, you can stay here if you want.
You're probably already home anyway.
There's many videos on the channel. I saw that someone was talking about rewatching Bruce Almighty. We watched that one. You can listen to that episode. James had never seen it, so we did watch Bruce Almighty. So if you want to watch that one and then listen to the podcast, that one might even be on YouTube, so you could even go see the video. I don't know when we watched Bruce Almighty. But yeah, there's an episode for that one. So, yeah, you don't have to leave, but we're probably going to go. But you can find older versions of us if you want to stay here by yourself. If you do, you should like and comment on those videos. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed. All those YouTube things that I'm supposed to say. Apparently also if you say subscribe, the subscribe button does something. So, there you go. We're not really good at the YouTube thing.